Welcome back to the Beardo Group podcast. Today, we're joined with Malin, who is a perspective consultant. Hello, Malin.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. Nice to be here.
Thank you very much for coming down.
Yeah.
So, Malin, tell us, what is a perspective coach? Sorry. So, Malin, tell us, what is a perspective consultant?
Yeah. Different from a coach, because it's perspective consultant, something I've created myself from creating my own method of helping people focusing on themselves and really following and be strong in their own perspective. So what a perspective consultant does, what I do, because it's only me who does it, is that I help people being strong in their own perspective and understand that they have a perspective, and then society has an own perspective and other people have their own perspective. And you understand, like, this is my perspective and I'm strong in who I am, and understand that people can be like me, but not 100% like me. And I can be in places where I don't get along with people because they're not like me, or I just help people to be strong in their own perspective so they don't need to feel bad not fitting in, because you can't really fit in because you're very unique yourself.
Amazing. And how did you get into being a perspective consultant?
It just ended up being that way in a weird way. This is my big passion. This is why I do this, is because I love understanding people. And when I meet a person, for example, I can see that they're very unique and have their own beautiful flame. And then I can since I was a kid, really be very upset when I see they're not acting like that person, because of different scenarios and society or school or whatever, they're not being themselves.
Yeah.
And that has really been as a drive for me, because why are you doing that? Why are you not being yourself?
Yeah.
That's just been a why my whole growing up. So I always been studying in a way, mixed with my passion, just an interest to understand why you're doing this. Why are you not loving yourself as much as I see you could,
Yeah.
or as much I do, maybe.
Yeah.
So in been doing that for years, when I became around in my 20s, I realized I know a lot about this. When I meet people, I can help people a lot. Is following themselves. So I went on vacation 2019 to Egypt, and I ran into this girl that was from Australia, and I helped her, and she was like, "This is amazing. You should help other people." And then she connected me with people in Australia, and I helped another people next, and then I started charging for what I'm doing, and then from there, it just went on and on. People just talking to each other, and here I am today.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I love that you've coined this phrase and you've made it into something. I think that's really amazing. And
Thank you.
Also, I just wanted to comment on, the fact that you really cared so much about, people not being able to be themselves, or, not wanting to be affected by what others think, and to help them get clear on their perspective. And that says a lot about you as a person, and, that shows that you're very, very empathetic and, a very giving person. Have you ever found that having those traits, as much as it's really, really great, and you're obviously helping a lot of people with what you're doing, has it ever been too much for you in a way, or have you ever been too giving or too empathetic?
That's a good question, because I don't really believe in too much. You can never be too much, but you can experience things that you can learn things from. That's how I see it. That you can't really be too much or too little of anything. But to answer your question, I would say that I have for sure had situations where I felt I don't want to do this anymore, or I don't want to experience this kind of situation anymore. But it's nothing to do with my ability to feel, or my empathy, or what did you say? That gift in me have never been a problem. But I have been in situations with people, I'm I don't want to experience this situation anymore.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay, I'm just not going to do that. And I'm going to figure out a way to not do that.
Yeah.
So it's not been my gift in overall. It's been certain situations, I would say.
Yeah. And I imagine that to really be able to be empathetic, but also still be able to put yourself first, you would need really strong boundaries.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's also something I learned with different scenarios, that I could be okay, I don't want that. So I know what I don't want. So I can say that, you know, like I can stand up to like respect that with myself.
Yeah.
Be like, no, that's like, I just don't do that. Or I wouldn't allow that or whatever, you know, whatever it could be.
Yeah.
It's a very wise thing to just like respecting yourself and having that boundary, as you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a wide thing, but yeah, for sure. That created that in so many ways, but life does that in general, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. And how's being a perspective consultant different to being another type of business consultant?
In my own experience with business consultants, it's more about the business.
Mm.
But in a perspective consulting, it's more like everything in a business. So it's you as a whoever, like all the people that's working in the business, the individuals is the focus. Like who everyone is feeling and who they are, and understand that they are unique and like to be really respected in who they are.
Yeah.
It's the focus. And then you start with like go up and down. You start with the CEOs, so the CEOs or the whoever is like in the top of the business understands themselves and have that respect for themselves. And from there you can go on and like help the other people around.
Yeah.
To have them have a better understanding from themselves. And then they are doing a great job wherever they're doing in their business. If it's finance or if it's like whatever it can be, you know.
Yeah.
Separate than the step 2 in that process, I would say.
Okay. What are some of the common challenges that business owners and CEOs face that you come across?
So it's very different. And for me, I don't really put into this, like I don't know what to call it, like the different, because it's so many different businesses, they do different things and they have different problems. But I can see like the core problem is miscommunication. It's not like someone being stressed that day and not really being honest about what's going on, or they're having a miscommunication or like stress communication or not not honest. Like it's all about communication and basically when it comes to stuff. Or it's the same thing. I was going to say like if it's a leader in some kind not being honest what they're feeling that day, if they're having a really rough day, for example, and they're really like maybe pissed or like, you know, gets annoyed with people because of something else. They're not honest about what they're really upset about. And then making everyone else is pissed off, you know, like, and that's creating a whole thing. Yeah. So that I think it's the biggest thing.
Yeah. And from my own personal experience, I see how that could be a problem. Sometimes, not sometimes, but I've observed about myself that sometimes I can be in situations where if I'm stressed or if there's a lot going on in personal life, etc., then I can respond almost passive aggressively if something isn't done properly, or if something's not done right, or if someone hasn't done something to the standard that I would like them to do something. I've noticed in my communication that I can become a bit passive aggressive. So, you know, and I'm at a very small level, you know, compared to the business owners and CEOs that you're working with. So I can only imagine that, you know, having that being amplified with a whole company and lots of employees and, you know, a lot of responsibility, that can be a big problem.
Yeah, for sure. Like, for sure.
And how do you help the CEOs and business owners identify the problem? Because I imagine that not everyone always knows that they need help.
No. So when they come to me, if they like want my help, it's because they want that help they haven't found anywhere else, and they want something that no one else, like, they haven't tried before.
Yeah.
Because what I do is like real deep work, and you get into the root of everything in everyone. Doesn't mean that everyone needs to know everything about everyone, but I help. For example, in the beginning of helping a business, you go to the CEO or the leaders of the company, and you go through this process with me, like helping you understanding yourself. So you understand if you're having a bad day, you understand why, and you know what do you need to do to get it, like, for you to feel better, basically.
Yeah.
And so when you so in a situation like that, I will be supportive for a leader that's like if I'm working with a company and I can see that the leader is like off his track, in a sense, and if we put it that way, I will be like, okay, helping him right away. You know, if it's a group, I will help them right away, and whatever it's to just help them understand themselves better. Because basically, my job is to get you to understand yourself good enough for me to not be there anymore.
Yeah.
So when you feel like you got it, you know, like, okay, I understand when this happened, it means this to me.
Mm.
And then I can be like, okay, great. Then I done my job, you know.
And so, say for the business owners that currently are listening. Say for the business owners and CEOs that are listening that think, I don't have any problems, or no, this doesn't apply to me. What kind of things could you tell them to look at as indicators as if they have this type of problem or not?
So I cannot and do not help people that don't want change.
Okay.
So if it's a person though that's want change, but it's like, but I'm not the problem.
Yeah.
Then I would be like, okay, but do you really want change?
Yeah.
Do you want me to help you, or do you not want to help you?
Yeah.
Like, and I can also tell if a person like says he doesn't want, that he's not a problem, but he's open to change.
Yeah.
Then if it like that's a person like he's open to change, I will for sure help that company.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then I'm not helping.
So it makes sense. So basically, you just want to work with people that want help.
Yeah, I'm only working with people that wants to work with me, obviously.
Yeah, because obviously, you know, we can come across some people who are pretty in their own way, so to speak, and you know they can be pretty in denial about a lot of things that are going on in their own life.
100%.
And so, to those people, do you have a message at all?
No, I will say like to everyone that has an experience like you do right now.
Yeah.
The person that you're just not seeing anything or whatever. It's not like that. So for a leader that's in the position, like many that are listening have probably experienced this situation where a leader that's like, no, it's not my fault. It's like when you feel like that person is just not seeing something. It's because that person have a totally different perspective on things. And you have your own perspective. You can only see him or her from your perspective, which is could be right, it could be very wrong. So it could be feeling that or seeing that this person is not, you know, like doing what he should do. But it's not 100% true because you don't know, because his perspective is very different from yours.
And so talk me through the process. So say, for example, use me as a case study right now.
Okay.
So what's the process? So I come to you or you come to me and, you know, you pointed out a few things and I'm like, okay, how does this improve? Where do we go from here? What does the process look like?
So in the process, normally when I sign something with a client.
Yeah. And what's the process to make sure that we're successful in the long term?
So if you come with your business, we say, to me, and say like, you want my help, you want to change with something, then I will be like having a meeting with you first of all before we sign anything and be like, okay, what do you want changed with? What do you feel like you want to gain? What is your goals? And are you open? And I will just feel the moment in with you, of course, as a person, how open you are, like I said earlier, how open you are to actually do the change. Because everyone needs to do that in the business. But the CEO, obviously, is the most important because that's the one who decides if it's going to happen, you know?
And so once that happens...
So once that happens, I feel like, okay, great, you want to do this. Then we do all the paperwork and then we start, I will be like in your life 24/7.
Yeah.
Not 24/7, but we will talk 2 to 3 times every week.
Yeah.
And then I will just like suit it around your schedule. So I would basically like just tune into your perspective and just like understand, like help you understand yourself. So you can like really like get that power over yourself to know like, this is me, this is what I need, this is what I want. Like, so you know that strongly, and like everything that happens to you, you basically say that to me, like I had this dream, or, you know, I hit my foot today, or like whatever it can be. So you understand when these things happens to me is because of, you know, different reasons.
And so from my understanding, like you're basically helping them to become aware of themselves and kind of build their consciousness, so to speak, to help them get in control of themselves and to manage themselves better so they're able to perform better.
So basically, I help you. Basically, I help people to understand themselves, so they can follow themselves.
Yeah.
So they can love themselves.
Yeah.
And have that respect for who they are.
Yeah.
'Cause that's the goal in my work.
Yeah.
To have that when they're like, oh, this is me and I'm amazing, and I respect 100% of everything that I am. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Basically. And when I do that work, also I want to put in that I use my own method that I created, which I call red, blue, and purple. But that's a long.
Yeah.
I can't go into that, but that's just I basically help people. I think I mentioned it to you before that I help people understand like logic and emotions, and like in different parts you're more in different parts of your life you're more and less of different things.
Yeah. I think that sometimes I can struggle to understand people's emotions.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty logical 1 + 1 = 2. This is this sort of.
Yeah, but also you should, like, because I obviously know you.
Yeah.
So I know that you're not like that in all parts of your life.
Yeah.
So in some parts of our lives, we can be more logical, and some people can be more, like in some situation, more emotional.
Yeah.
Like a communication is a good example. When you communicate as very emotional, and you don't really care about the words or the logic. You just have a feeling of what you want to say, and you give it to the other person. You more go with the flow, and you're more creative. But if you're more blue, as I call it, you are more structured. You think about things before you say them, like that. So, and everyone is listening is probably can relate to that.
Yeah.
So I just help people. That is one group of like things that we are, and then like you have different other categories or whatever you want to call them.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Something popped into my mind. And so what advice do you have to a very logical thinking person in communicating with an emotional led person?
Yeah, I would say that have respect, because you are also emotional in other parts of your life. It's hard also because if you don't respect yourself 100%, if you haven't done the process of like, okay, this is me and I love myself and I really respect myself for everything I am, and it's hard for you to do the same to another person. It's not even possible for you to do that.
Yeah.
But you can try. And you can try in the sense that you can say, like in your head, obviously, not when you're talking to someone, that you respect them. I respect that they're not talking like me, and I respect that I don't understand them.
Yeah.
Because we're not communicating the same way. But I respect it. Just have that in your thoughts. Like I respect it. I'm good.
I guess that could be a really good way for the logical thinker not to get annoyed or something like that when the communication's a bit off.
Yeah, and I can tell though from the other side, because I can obviously hear that you're the logical one in the situation. So the emotional part can be as pissed off.
Yeah.
Because the other one doesn't understand. Because most of the time, people don't understand each other because they don't have that understanding that, okay, he's the opposite from me.
Yeah.
Or she is the opposite from me, like in this communication situation. But most of the time, it's like if you'd have that understanding that about like everyone is different.
Yeah.
Then it's so much easier to communicate, because then you're like, okay, I don't understand, but then you can like, okay, I don't understand you right now. And then you have the respect to being okay, she doesn't understand me, then I'm going to try till she understands me, or until he understands me, Instead of being like, oh, why don't you just understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so, a lot of times I personally I'm someone that will stick to my point. This is what it is, etc., etc. But something that I've learned over time is that when communicating with someone that's more emotionally led, it's sometimes good to have a buffer period, so you can both kind of think about what it is that you're trying to communicate, and then come back to each other and try to communicate clearly. And sometimes also when I've been in situations like that, and I've had to learn this over, lots of therapy, mentoring, and experience. It's something that I tried to say instead of what I could have said, long time ago, which is, you're not making sense. You're talking rubbish. No, this is what you're saying is just, no, it's totally too far thingy. I'll say, what are you trying to communicate to me right now? Like, please try to be clear, because right now what you're saying, I'm not understanding it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but you really do have to be at a level of self-restraint and discipline with yourself, not to just, but yeah.
Yeah. Think about you talking to yourself. I mean, maybe that's bad to say also, because a lot of people assume that the person is always gonna be as himself.
Yeah.
You can only see things from your own perspective, and you're only expecting people to talk to you in the same way as you do.
Yeah.
So in that sense, just have respect that people are not like you, and respect yourself enough to be like, I don't understand you right now, and I, with all the respect, I just want to try to understand. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a really great mindset to have, and definitely for anybody that is struggling with the verbal kind of conflict, having that kind of mindset going into a conversation is definitely helpful, I think.
Yeah.
And so, what specific strategies do you recommend for develop? This is such a long-winded question. let me pick my phone up to read this. Are there any strategies that you would recommend for developing strong leadership for business owners or within a company?
Yeah, my own, obviously.
What kind of methods are they, or strategies?
So, I mean, the strategies, I would say, obviously, to follow yourself. Like, really. Like, that's maybe sounds simple, but it's not. But it could be. To follow yourself, just to, because your business is unique. Whatever you're doing, you could feel that it's unique, or you could not feel that it's unique because you're doing something that other people are doing. But it doesn't matter. It's your business. And as long as you're doing it as you want to do it, as you feel like you're doing it, or you're thinking as you should do it, as long as you do that, you're great. You're going to be great. You're going to be great. You're going to be good. As long as you are feeling good while you're doing it. And that comes back to my work, as I said in the beginning. Like, that's the method I will say is the most effective, because when you follow yourself and really like, okay, I need a rest day today, or I need whatever, like just for you to feel good all the time, it's going to make you do magic in work,
Yeah. And what I take from that is, that you're saying to people, live in alignment of your truth, be genuine and authentic.
100%.
Because I do feel like I've come across people that try to copy what other people are doing. And in respect, it's fine if it's work processes or things like that. But I think what you said is so spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, it's good to try on things, like trying to be other people are doing and so on. But as long as you have a mentality that you think that someone else has the right answers for you, like trying things out until this is what I want, or this is what I like, and this is the techniques or whatever that suits for me in my business. I'm doing what I'm doing. But as long as you think that someone else has the answers, then you're screwed. Because they don't. No one knows what you need, and no one knows how to run your business without except you.
Yeah.
And if you're doing it with other people, that's like you're doing this business. Some other people are probably doing other business like you, but it's nothing to do with you. It's nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's saying I'm a person, you're a person, sure we should do the same. It makes no sense,
Yeah.
Even though with both people doing same things, you can't really do the same, Makes no sense.
And how do you think that a CEO should improve their leadership skills?
It's very individually. Like that's leader to leader. Like depends on who you are as a person.
Use me as a case study. So from what you know of me, just because what I'm trying to extract from this question is for any CEOs or founders, business owners that are sat listening, I want them to kind of have some insight. So how could the CEO sat at home listening right now, apart from obviously coming to yourself, what steps forward could they take to help them become a better leader in general?
So if I take you as example, because in general it's very hard to say, because in general I will say the same thing as you said, that's like very individually, because it is. But if I take you as example, I will say that for you as a leader, it's important to just be yourself in that sense, that just be like goofy you know, like, because you're a very, like, as your systems would probably agree on, you're very like easygoing, you know, so like you just be that like, I don't know how to say it, but like be yourself in a way of like, don't try to be a leader, you know, be yourself, be goofy that when you want to be goofy, be strict when you want to be strict, and just like have the structure in your business that you feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
In the sense of like in logic or emotionally, do you want it to be more emotionally, that everyone's emotion are in focus, or do you want it to be about logic, and like, or do you want it to be more about having fun, or like, you know, like whatever you feel like, and you structure it, and you don't need to be like, okay, this is what you should follow it 100%. What I'm basically I'm saying is that if you feel like this is what I want my business to look like now, we're gonna have fun, we're gonna be creative, whatever, and then a month later you feel like, okay, let's have more structure now. It's all up to you. If someone is listening and they're like, okay, but I like structure 100% all the time, then that's what you should do. But if you're more like, okay, I want to have more, like, I want a creative space, I want, like, whatever it could be, like, you should follow what you feel like, and don't be so caught up on this is what I'm supposed to do, because that can change, because you decide that, you know.
And I understand that there's not one set way of doing something, and just speaking from my own perspective, I definitely like the robotic kind of approach to work life. No excuses. This is what needs to happen, and then outside of work, when, you know, we can have a laugh, or you know, say if we're at an event or just something outside of work, I think that's where you can talk about like the more emotional side of things, and if something's tough, etc., etc. But just my personal way of how I like to do things is there's no excuses. Get things done. It doesn't matter how you feel. This is what needs to get done.
And then it's obviously different depending on how many people you have in your business, and if you have other leaders in your business, team leaders or whatever, you know. So it's different how you want them to do, how you want you to do, because that's also a big difference. They don't need to be you in the sense of like how you want business to be run.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point. And I think that's what I mean, I'm not at that level yet where I have lots of senior kind of people. But I imagine that, you know, someone that does have a company where they have multiple senior people, I think that's what just adds depth to their company, and working with different people will be a different kind of experience, because maybe Cleo, when she becomes, you know, a C-level of some type, COO or CCO or whatever it is one day, you know, maybe she would go about situations differently to me, and maybe she won't take the robotic route, and maybe she would be more emotionally driven. Who knows? But I'd be totally open to that, because I think that, you know, in a team, it's not just one person's mindset, behaviors, morals that make a culture. It's the whole team's thoughts, behaviors, and communication that makes the culture. Moving forwards, giving them like skin in the game, because I just feel like that would motivate them, and at least they feel like it's theirs, and like it's not just a dictatorship. This is what you must do. You must work like a robot. This is just my own ideologies, but I want to work with my team. Like, what's your goal? Okay, you want to own property. You want to do this. How can we make that a reality inside of this team here, of this company? How can we help you do that? How can we get you doing that? Or, if it's someone else and their goals to be a public speaker, or their goals to be an influencer of some sort. Okay, cool. How can we help you achieve that while also still doing what we're doing together? But yeah, that's just my own thoughts.
That's beautiful. From my perspective.
Awesome. And so, what should someone start learning? Say, for example, if they want to type in something on YouTube or a book to become a better leader. I know you said that it's very very individual, but general advice, books, good things to watch on YouTube, just things that you can consume that can help you become a better leader.
So that's a good question. And I will 100% everything that makes you excited. Like everything that makes you excited, like a book, YouTube, like whatever you're doing. If it makes you excited, just focus on that. And whatever you're like maybe thought of that day, they're like, oh, I just want to listen to this music, or I just want to listen to that, this person's, or like that person I have it popped into my mind or whatever. Wonder if they have a book, like just follow those things, what excites you and what pops up in your day,
Why?
Because magic comes from that.
Yeah.
Because when you do things that excites you, and also you should obviously do things in your day-to-day life that doesn't excite you too, that you don't want to do, which is more important. But to do things that excites you when it comes to have that drive and being creative in your work, to really do that first, like do the things that excite you. But then it's so important to do things that you don't want to do every day.
I definitely agree with that. It's the consistency of the things that you don't want to do that's actually going to take you places.
100%.
But it's interesting that you said do the things that excite you. So my business mentor, his business partner released a money psychology course. And I was listening to this particular episode of the course yesterday in the sauna. And he was saying that when you're thinking about your goals or what you want to achieve, etc., he said it's important to be excited about it. And he said to be excited about it, you got to do things that you enjoy. And it's just funny that you said what you said, and he said that yesterday on a money psychology course.
So that if you will be my client right now and you told me this story, I would be like, then you know what to do.
Yeah.
Because you heard it from 2 places.
Yeah.
And that can happen 3 days in 4 places. Then you're just like, okay, no, I know what I should focus on.
Yeah. What excites you?
Oh, that's a good question. That is a very good question. Knowledge excites me.
Ooh.
Knowledge, like 100%. Like learning something, it really excites me. Like,
anything in particular? Like pyramids, Egyptian stuff, or like, are we talking like space, or like what kind of knowledge?
Knowledge about humans.
Yeah.
Like that, and everything we can do excites me a lot.
Yeah.
Like I do, martial arts.
Yeah.
And yesterday I had I'm doing a new type of martial arts. So it really challenges me, and it makes me so happy when I learn, because I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
And I also learn new, from my trainers, not from here, I learned so much more about humans and that really excites me.
Yeah. No, amazing.
Different things every day.
Wicked. No, that's really good.
Yeah.
And I would say same here, I guess. I love learning, and I love the feeling that happens when you can see that you've learned something and you're in a different place and you're having a different experience, because it's like, oh, I've never done this before. I'm doing something new. I'm learning. I'm progressing. And so how do you advise businesses to adapt and thrive in an economical world that's constantly changing?
That's a good question. I would say to really tap into the part of yourself that just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Because back to my philosophy of that I made, that is I call red, blue, and purple. That red and blue is very, very important. Then the red part, like it's important to see both red and blue in all parts of your life. And the red part is going with the flow, for example, and the blue is structure, just be like planning stuff out. So I think to just see those both parts is very important. To just like you have structure, and you have a plan, and you follow that, but you also have to just go with the flow because things change, especially in this the question you asked me.
I agree with that so much, and they a buzzword that they love here in Sweden, adaptability. It's well, they do. They, you know, like these buzzwords that they love. Like adaptability is so important in business and in life. 100%. I think.
Yeah, 100%.
Things are forever changing. Everything, the weather, you know,
yeah,
placement of countries, even.
Yes.
Things happening in business, and I think that as much as you know what you said, you know, there's a plan, and this is what we're gonna do. Be prepared to change at any moment, any given time. You know, to maximize your, you know, your output or the opportunity or what you're trying to do.
And enjoy it when it changes.
Yeah.
And not be like, okay, it changes, and be like, I'm going to wait until it doesn't, you know, like, because it always will.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Yeah. And so what actionable steps can businesses or business owners take to boost employee engagement and create a positive work environment?
I mean, back to, first of all, if the CEO is like in a good mood, it's going to be a great mood for everyone, you know. But also between each other, if it's a business with a lot of people listening from that's not a CEO, but like maybe a team leader or just an employee, that's just have respect. Like try to have the respect, but also know that like you basically that comes back to working on yourself, because you can only have the respect for someone else when you have it for yourself. So you start respecting your own time by saying to someone like, I don't like this, or I do like that, or no, I don't want to do that, I want to do this, or that can we do this instead because I don't want to do it in that kind of way, or whatever, you know.
So like
create a better space between everyone.
What I take from that is like you're telling people to communicate honestly and openly.
Yeah.
But also have healthy boundaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, can you have an unhealthy boundary?
I think so.
How?
Well, because say for example, let's have like a graph, and on this graph at the top is like healthy, happy, and at the bottom is like sad. And then say there's a line on this graph. Now the line should be near the top. You know, so anything that goes below that, you're not being happy. But some people's default settings, the line is quite low. So they would accept more, for lack of a better term, shit, than what they should. And maybe they don't know about having boundaries and setting those healthy boundaries, and they're letting things happen to them that having healthy boundaries could stop, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? No.
Yeah, but they...
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I used to have quite bad boundaries, and things used to happen to me that I didn't like, but I didn't say anything about it, and it was causing me discomfort. And then when I learned about boundaries and how to, you know, you can just tell people that you don't like things and you want something to be different, and that's totally okay, I started being a lot happier, and my relationships were a lot better because I would stop getting pissed off or annoyed and not expressing that, where now if something happens, I can just say, hey, no, I don't really like that. Please don't do that again. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But I would say that it maybe didn't have bad boundaries. You had
none.
Yes. No, I would say that your boundaries has evolved.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
Because for the boundaries you had back then was good for you then. And then you're like, oh, no, it's not good anymore. And then you need better and better and better. And, you know, like everything in life is evolving, you know? So it would never been bad. It's just, if you had it now, it would probably be bad for you if you start doing the things you did then. but then it wasn't bad when you start doing it, and then it becomes bad, and then you change, and so I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just like it's not for you anymore, and then you like evolve.
Okay, I like your outlook on that.
It's
like
nice to just like, it's so important. So important thing that I want to put in this when you talk about like saying bad things. Even the word bad is about something that you have done or doing. You're putting yourself down in a way that is so poisonous. That I think it's the biggest work I do with clients. Because when we're basically saying something bad about themselves, we're neglecting a part of themselves. But that part of us is also a fighter, and we like fight you so much until like until it couldn't even go to like you killing yourself.
Yeah.
That kind of way. So like you have this part of yourself that you have to really respect, and don't talk shit about yourself, because if you do, you're gonna have someone that's trying to defend you inside of yourself, and that's just gonna like take over in so many ways.
Yeah.
So it's so important. It's like, sounds maybe crazy when I say this, but it is very important to respect yourself in that sense. So you don't need to go down any rabbit, like feel bad in any way.
Yeah. Thank you for changing my perspective on that.
You're welcome.
And so, what communication strategies do you emphasize to help leaders effectively convey their vision and their goals to their teams?
Say that question one more time.
What communication strategies do you promote or do you advise to help leaders effectively share their vision and goals?
Honesty. 100%. Just honesty.
Yeah.
That's all you need. If you want to have that, like if you want that kind of, like if you want to evolve in a great way, like in your business, that honesty is a very great key.
Yeah.
Really great.
And how do you assist the CEO or business owner in building a strong company culture that aligns with their goals and their values?
Say again? Create a what?
How do you help business owners build a strong company culture that also aligns with their values and their goals?
You mean like a person, what do you mean by culture?
Culture. So say, for example, culture is made up of thoughts, behaviors, communication. And so say, for example, you take one company. Let's take a company like marketing companies, for example. You have one company and the culture is they all work out, they're all like super fit and they wake up super early and, they're really about their training and well-being and et cetera, et cetera. But then you get another company that they don't start work until 10 a.m. and a lot of them maybe skateboard and they're a lot more relaxed and the cultures are different. And the reason why the cultures are different is because the behaviors, the communication and the thinking generally is different. And that's what makes up a culture.
Okay.
And so how would you advise a business owner to, just to side note, I can edit this part out. We can skip this question if you like.
No, take it. It's fine.
How would you advise a business owner to build a strong, sorry, I can't see this. How would you advise how do you advise a business owner to build a strong culture that aligns with their values and their goals?
To have a leader in that in that area, like to be like, okay, we have one person that has decided, because take a lot of people in the business is good, like because it's obviously if you're a lot of people that is running the business, it's good to obviously that everyone has a say, I guess. But in this situation, I would very much recommend that one person is like, this is the vibe or whatever, like this is how I want the business to look like in this sense. And like, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
You'd be like, I decide. What do you think? Yes, no, and obviously the leader doesn't need to be like whoever's gonna decide that doesn't need to be or even asking. It can be like, this is how we're doing it.
Yeah. So when I have 50 employees, I can say to everyone in
This is the vibe I want to have.
Yeah, I'll say, everyone, we're going to start work at 5 a.m. We're going to work for 15 hours a day, but you get free gym memberships. And you also have to meal prep all your food and eat under 1,800 calories.
So I can recommend, then obviously this is very logical, that then you also get the people that are very same minded as you.
Yeah.
Because it's a good way of doing that.
Say you're fired. I'm joking.
I mean, because for sure, what you just said, it's very hard to do because not a lot of people, because a lot of things can happen and not everyone can follow that, you know?
Yeah.
It's very hard to, because it works great for you. And with that, just saying that works great for you means that it probably doesn't work so good for anyone else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just all.
Yeah.
You know? So saying it like, I will say that to answer to your question, do it something that will suit, that you know will fit for your group. Don't do it just 100% for yourself, because you will still do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
So do it for your business that will suit your business, that you will like to be around and be in, you know.
Yeah. And so, speaking of the color red.
Yes.
How do you recommend for business owners to encourage innovation and creativity within their company?
Also, again, very individually, but I will for sure. But also that it's like you have to know what the people you're working with, because some people are very much more like blue. They're way more blue, and they're like, why are we gonna be creative right now? Like, I don't understand. Then like you have to, you know, like really use the people you have for like the skills they have. So like you can probably, I wanted to be more creative. Then take your creative people, because you probably have a few people that are more blue. So to be making this clear, like red is creative, blue is more structured, more like productive.
My favorite color is blue.
Okay. Good for your business, because blue is very, very important in your business, obviously.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? When I thought about that question, how would you, help business owners? How would you help them basically encourage innovation and creativity in the company? My first thought was, okay, well, maybe through the week, if everyone writes down on a piece of paper and then puts in a jar what they'd like to do to innovate and be more creative, and then every Friday at lunchtime, we'll read out them and we'll pick the best ones. So it's still like very blue in the structure and the system of it.
But then you're not respecting the red part, because it's very important.
No? Yeah, I thought the red part was what they write on the piece of paper.
Yeah, but if you're not reading all of them, are you respecting them then?
I just pick out my one. Exactly. I fold it in a certain way.
And that's going to make your business feel big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know that.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
We'll make sure everyone's voices are heard.
It's not about that even. It's just respecting. Just think about respect.
Yeah.
It's not about like, because some people can be like, just like you, like laughing so much and be like, this is the most fun ever to do this every week. But some people can be like more red, or be like, they just need that respect, in another way. So just think about respect and remember that everyone is different.
Yeah.
Because world would be amazing if everyone was like us,
Yeah.
But it's not.
Yeah.
But it's still amazing. So just have the respect and knowing that everyone is not like you, and just like try things out and see how it goes.
Yeah. And so what last insights and advice would you like to share with business owners and CEOs that want to improve their business performance?
Look over how you're doing things today. What is it that you want change in? What is it that you're doing that doesn't feel good? because that I think is the most important thing, to feel that thing that doesn't feel good. And then like it could feel bad for you as a CEO, but look how it, if it feels bad for you, ask the other ones, do you like this part of our business? Do you like, how does this, when we're doing this, how does it feel? Like, can we change it somehow? Or should we just get rid of it 100%? Like, just look over what feels great and what doesn't. And also look at it like, obviously in a more blue way too, like logical, like how does it look like? Is the structure good? All that, you know?
Yeah. Where can people find you if they want you to do perspective consulting for them personally or their company?
They can add me on LinkedIn and connect me with there, or on any other social media, like on my YouTube. You can find my email there.
Yeah. Guys, we're going to link that in the description. That wasn't as exciting as what I wanted it to be. Guys, thank you so much for watching the Beardo Group podcast. We have been with Malin today. Round of applause, guys. Everyone in the studio.
Thank you for having me. So much fun.
No worries. No worries.
So much fun.
It has been fun. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Very insightful.
Good.
And guys, if you did not know, Beardo Media, oh my God, that was our old name. That was what we started in 2019.
Okay, so we back it up here.
I can't believe I said Beardo Media. We changed to Beardo Group about a year and a half ago. But anyway, guys, if you didn't know, Beardo Group, we are providing B2B lead generation. So if you are a B2B company and you need clients, we will help you establish those relationships anywhere in the world. We also do social media marketing, so things like websites, content, photos, videos, editing, social media uploading, sponsored ads, you name it. We also have a private invite-only community where we do events in the UK, in Stockholm and Dubai. And if you are a company that wants to grow your community building and your lead generation, we will throw events for you. Thank you very much for listening.